Australia, the beautiful country we call home, has a landmass of just under 8 million square kilometres and is classified as the sixth largest country based on its total area. It consists of many landscapes ranging from the tropical rainforests, mountain ranges, beautiful beaches, and deserts or semi-arid land, as we know it, the outback. As a whole, Australia is recognised as a megadiverse country with approximately 85% of flowering plants, more than 45% of birds, and 84% of our mammal species being endemic. Despite the abundance of these endemic species, the introduction of invasive pest species threatens the survival of our native plants and wildlife. One vertebrate in particular, the European wild rabbit, is one of the most successful invasive animals worldwide, and within Australia has long impaired the economy. The first recorded domesticated rabbits arrived within Australia in the first fleet in 1788 as a source of food from Spain and South France. However, in 1857 in Geelong, Victoria, 24 rabbits were freed to improve sports hunting for men. Humans had no idea about how rapidly the rabbit population would multiply over the years. The female rabbit can produce up to 8 kittens depending on their age, and can have up to 5 to 6 litters in good breeding conditions. It is suggested by scientists that the Australian climate is, in certain areas such as Geelong, allowed the rabbits to breed all year round, and together with the availability and quality of food, these factors aided in the fast reproduction of rabbits. Rabbits have a reproductive cycle of just 28 to 30 days, and breeding commencing from as early as 4 months of age. Rabbit reproduction outweighs most of Australia's native vertebrates, and from 1859 it was reported that rabbits dominated 2/3 of the continent, and within 70 years of the first rabbit inhabiting Australia, the rabbit population was in excess of 10 billion. The first signs that rabbits were becoming a problem was the outright competitiveness between livestock for pasture. They consume on average 100 to 150 grams of food each daily, so to put this in perspective, 1 grazing sheep equals 9 rabbits grazing on a daily basis. Through this abundance of grazing, it has reduced native pasture biodiversity, promoted invasive unpalatable weed species, restricted the regeneration of trees and shrubs, and were also showing severe impacts on native herbivore and omnivores through food competition and habitat degradation. Rabbits exert considerable environmental damage by selectively feeding off plants that are in critical development stages, such as seedlings. In high densities, the rabbits will consume native plants to such an extent that topsoil is bared and the soil exposed to sheet, gully, and wind erosion. Furthermore, there is evidence that burrows have negatively impacted water quality and have caused soil movement, which can be costly measure to landowners and governments. Rabbits also cause extensive losses to forestries and are a potential threat to new tree plantations designed for carbon offset. The ecological limit in terms of range and overall distribution in Australia has been reached, although studies have shown that rabbit numbers are still on the rise in North Queensland. This could be due to climate change. Overpopulation of rabbits has seriously affected the native wildlife through its environmental damages and has been blamed for the disappearance of the greater bilby and the pig-footed bandicoot in areas. They have also had an impact on 304 other animals and plant species, in which 24 of these are critically endangered. The rabbit-proof fence was constructed between 1902 and 1907 from the south coast to the north coast of Port Hedland in Western Australia. The fence kept other pest vertebrates out. However, this fence disrupted migratory native animals such as the emu, and even before construction was complete, rabbits had breached the barrier, and in 1904 work began farther west on a chemical control has been one of the most effective ways to cull rabbit numbers. A poison oat bait known as 1080 has been used since the early 1900s and works by being ingested by the rabbits, with death following a few days later. Pressure fumigation and diffuse fumigation using toxins, for example carbon monoxide and phosphine, have been used to kill rabbits while they're still in their warrens. This effective method provides a high mortality rate of up to 90%. It's cheap but can be time-consuming. Not to mention, in breeding seasons, young rabbits at only 14 days old can survive the death of their mother. Humans, sheep, cattle, and possums are also susceptible to the 1080 poison, and this also has a secondary effect by predatory and scavenging species eating the rabbits after death has occurred. Destruction of warrens and above-ground harbours is the most widely used mechanical method for rabbit control used to date. Warren ripping can be a cost-effective and efficient method for suppressing rabbit numbers and inhibiting reinvasion of treated areas because it deprives the rabbits of safe places to breed. However, rabbit warrens have been recorded at 2.5 metres in depth, so ruining the warrens may create more destruction. Communities would band together and organise rabbit runs, where this method included the rounding up of rabbits into fenced areas where they were killed by using different manual methods. The most notorious rabbit run was held in New South Wales and killing over 2,500 rabbits in just one day. Less widely used treatments used are fencing, trapping, and explosives to destroy warrens. As the human population grows in certain rural areas, shooting has been a control less used and can be a costly technique through the use of bullets, especially if you're not a very good shot. The successful release in 1950s of a biological control, myxomatosis, and in 1995, the Khaleesi virus dramatically reduced rabbit populations by 98% in the drier regions, but this was not overly successful in the cooler, wetter areas. This disease was later known to have escaped from Wardang Island through the transportation of biting insects such as ticks and mosquitoes. This was found to be evident as Dr. Brian Cook, the leader of the CSIRO's calcivirus program, had noted that only 2 rabbits on the island had the virus. The economic benefits from this biological control was estimated at $70 billion in 2009 for the Australian agricultural industries over a 60-year period. However, it has been recognised that the rabbit species have started to become immune to these viruses. Now, in 2017, 20 years after the release of the first biological control, a new strain of the RHDV, founded by scientists in Korea, was released in March and has been given the name RHDV1K5. Approximately 600 sites around the whole of Australia have participated tackling this pest species, in which we have now learned cost agricultural companies over $2 million each year. Nationally, there are many agencies and stakeholders on both government and community levels working together to stop this pest species ruining our land and our incomes. All in all, the action taken to eradicate this pest species has been successful. Although the rabbit populations are still high, scientists, stakeholders and governments are working together to help remove this pest species from the wild and regenerate the lost land and ecosystems.